Within the vast world of Nickelodeon childhood protagonists, we have a few icons that stand out like Timmy Turner, Jimmy Neutron, Aang, and countless others. For years during and after the show's running, we find ourselves understanding these characters at a deeper and deeper level. As the channel's grown, I've waited to make certain videos. Scaling cartoons can often be inconsistent, and as I've gotten better and the channel bigger, I've understood how truly broken certain characters are and why. Saying all this leads me to today's video, where we're going to talk about how powerful is the teenage specter from the mind of Butch Hartman. Today we're going to answer the question, how powerful is Danny Fenton? How powerful is Danny Fenton? Native to the city of Amity Park, appropriately named, Danny Fenton was only 13 years old when his parents built a very strange machine. Expert ghost hunters and paranormal investigators, they attempted to invent a portal to another dimension, the Ghost Zone. The project seemingly failed, and Danny, being a curious teenager, suited up and wandered inside the machine, accidentally sets it off, and then his molecules got all rearranged at a genetic level, causing his hair to become a ghostly white and his eyes a piercing green. First off, it can be said that Danny died that day, essentially becoming a being that can live and exist between the human world and Ghost Zone. The transformation changed more about Danny than just his physical form. In addition to being able to shift between his ethereal form, Danny could detect and sense other ghosts in his vicinity. With the Ghost Zone active, other ghosts now broke through and seek to terrorize the world of the living. Danny, with his new spectral abilities, takes up the name Danny Phantom and becomes a sort of vigilante, stopping the ghosts and using his parents' technology to return them to the Ghost Zone. With the introduction out of the way, let's get into the real bulk of the video. After transforming, Danny gains access to a massive arsenal of powers that actually make him an incredibly powerful protagonist as the series goes on and on. Starting off, as a ghost, Danny has several innate abilities. Intangibility/phasing. As a ghost, Danny of course can phase through solid matter, including walls, floor, concrete, asphalt, traps, or even the very real physical grip of his opponents. Danny can control his phasing with precision, like when he made his chin intangible, causing his bully Dash to miss and embarrass himself. He can make individual limbs intangible and reach through barriers like locked doors, entry points, or lockers, and this ability extends to also being able to share the intangibility. Danny can phase out walls, people, or even cars, and this ability is actually kind of broken because it's shown Danny can phase people into the ground and leave them buried essentially, and it's also shown by his future self he can plant objects in other people's body. It should be noted that during phasing, things are invisible to non-ghosts. This ability is one of Danny's casually more dangerous ones, as he doesn't even really have to be touched or enter combat against non-ghost opponents. Overshadowing and ghostly possession. Ghostly possession is when Danny enters a person's body and possesses them, obviously, though other ghosts are also capable of this. The people Danny overshadows don't remember what happens while he's possessing them, and Danny can seemingly freely leave their body and return unnoticed, though some people can see through it, like when his dad was possessed by Vlad and knew but didn't know when Danny did it. Danny's possession goes rather deep, as he's able to even enter a person's dreams and be aware of the fact that he is in a dream. This extends to animating inanimate objects, being able to possess animals and still speak through them, and is powerful enough that Danny as a ghost can possess other ghosts. And this also extends to being able to exorcise ghosts from other people's body, whether directly or blasting them out, though he comically always uses it like a tackle. In strength, Danny seems to be on the level of a powered-up Marvel character, as we see him often folding his opponents into cars, cracking walls, and on countless other occasions smashing through buildings. During a battle in the later season with Vlad Masters, Danny kicks Vlad through 3 floors and the roof of a building. Commonly throughout the series, Danny is seen taking down building-sized beasts like dragons, bugs, oversized plant growth, other ghosts, and even massive monsters made out of literally meat. He can easily carry large vehicles, showing he stopped a runaway bus full of children and carried them to safety with ease. Your average school bus weighs around 17,000 pounds, and Danny caught and held the weight of it from the rear like it was nothing. Going further from this, Danny's durability is about the same as what he can dish out. Danny commonly gets thrown through walls, buildings, and launched dozens of feet into the air and craters the ground, often with little to no damage, meaning Danny is taking damage on a similar level of destruction, from fighting his dark future self to fighting some of the most powerful ghosts like Skulker, Vlad, Vortex, or even Overgrowth, or the Ghost King. We see Danny show resistances to ice, electricity, and even explosions from missiles. His durability is kind of without question around city to country level. Speed. Now, in terms of speed, we have a direct reference to the show where Danny was clocked by Tucker at 112 miles per hour. Though in the world of cartoons, I'd say Danny is as fast as he needs to be, honestly. There's moments where Danny tackles Vlad from the air near his house all the way to the football field at his school. This tackle taking less than a few seconds and crossing a distance of several miles, though I'm not quite sure of the distance between the school and his house. In the exact same line of thought though, Danny is shown dodging Vortex's lightning, which is literally lightning, putting him at an impossible speed, and here's why. While the flashes we see as a result of lightning strikes travel at a speed of 670 million miles per hour, an actual lightning strike travels at a comparatively gentle 270,000 miles per hour. Danny had to be moving faster than the conjuring of lightning in order to be able to dodge it. He's shown dodging bullets from the guys in white, and bullets travel twice the speed of sound at a staggering 1,800 miles per hour. His speed extending to avoiding attacks from a gallery of different foes, from Valerie's equipment to Vlad's own ghostly abilities, or countless other ghosts who scale to him. And specifically in Valerie's case, we see her chase Danny into the upper atmosphere of the planet within a minute of screen time. Putting both over escape velocity, and considering they made it through the lower atmospheres, they had to have been moving like 10,000 miles per hour, roughly the speed of a rocket taking off. There's constant and countless speed feats for Danny, but like I said, officially cartoons are hard to scale when it comes to speed especially, so moving on. We get into Danny's more specific powers, and if you made it this far in the video, go ahead and leave a little click on that like button. It really helps us get seen in the algorithm and does a lot more than you think for the channel. Next up, cryokinesis. In the later seasons, Danny develops cryokinesis, or the control of ice. Discovered, I believe, during Danny's fight with Overgrowth, he can use cryokinesis in the form of creating objects like shields or projectiles, these which he can fire from his hands or even eyes. This extends to his physical hits as well as being able to touch things and freeze them like the ground, and he can even coat himself in an icy aura that freezes people who touch him. The ice is strong enough to not only freeze other ghosts in their attacks, but even outmatch the heat of a Hydra whose fire breath shattered the ground beneath it. Ghost Ray. Now, like many other ghosts, Danny can fire a blast of ecto energy, this being highly applicable from being able to be fired from his eyes, hands, mouth, feet, or even one time. These have so many in variation and applicability that I have to shorten it down for the sake of this video. There's projectiles. Officially, the beams are strong enough to carve trenches in stone, destroy cars and large-scale opponents, and Danny gets better with the accuracy, being able to place sniper-level shots as it grows. Energy projection. Danny in various scenarios uses energy like pulses or waves to knock enemies away from him, slide across the ground like using ice skates, and can even write messages and leave them with the ghostly energy. These are also heat and light based. It should be noted that all of Danny's energy attacks have light and heat based effects, from incineration of ghosts or earthly things like paper, melting people's shoes to the floor, and in terms of light, it's seen that the light he emits is bright enough to vanquish Johnny 13's shadow and blinds the guys in whites, who by the way always have sunglasses on. Lastly, in the field of energy projection, Danny can form shields durable enough to stop high-level ghost attacks, from fire to lightning or ghost ecto rays. Danny has so many applications of his energy projection energy abilities that would be a video by itself, but briefly, I'll note that Danny does have access to duplication, though he's never used this ability in signature fashion, but would in theory be able to create multiple clones of himself like his future self would, all with his current capabilities. Finally, and I saved the best for last, perhaps Danny's most powerful ability is something we didn't see get featured until he met his evil self later on in the series, and I've waited since childhood to make a video for this moment: the ghostly whale. Dark Danny, Danny's future self, introduced us to the ghostly whale, first by shaking an entire energy-shielded city. This whale shattered all the glass in moving cars and buildings and knocked out the city's power grid with simply its tremors. This city, I assume, fortified against ghost and ghostly attacks. The ghostly whale later rupturing the ground beneath a fortified building, and these quakes would be comparable to at least a magnitude 7 to high 8 earthquake, given they cause severe infrastructure changing damage. Danny gained this ability 10 years before his dark self would have. His not being as powerful, but still, wait, now that I think about it, how is Dark Danny's ghostly whale not as strong? Even though he got beat by Danny's ghostly whale, but it's shown in the show that he severely crippled several different high-level ghosts and was even forcing them to have to band together to try and take him out. But either way, Danny's current ghostly whale still shatters city building windows and even a building after launching Dark Danny and a car into it. As Danny showed us, the ghostly whale would put him already around large city level, small country level in my opinion, but the massive host of his other abilities easily make him a dangerous combatant. One important thing to note is that through all of his abilities, Danny essentially did rely on his family's brand of ghost fighting equipment. showcasing this especially against his dark self with the Ghost Gauntlet, Spectre Deflector, and defeating him officially with the Fenton Thermos. He also has the ectoscaling that gracefully enhances his ability as he can channel his own ghostly powers through the suit. So, with the exception of him having to use his family's equipment as a crutch, but he is fighting Ghost and they're a ghost fighting family, I'd overall still rank Danny pretty high up there in terms of ability and combat prowess. Danny can level buildings, move at subsonic to high supersonic speeds, phase through objects and attacks, and with attacks like the Ghostly Well, completely destroy the infrastructure of an entire nation if he wanted to, making him easily a countryside's threat. There's a ton more to talk about Danny and his powers and the world of Danny Phantom, so leave a like and a comment down below if you guys want me to do another video in this universe. And without further ado, it seems that I'm going Ghost.